Uh, Welcome all for our 3-day webinar series, uh, Code to Inclusivity. We are mainly talking about accessibility, fundamentals, and how it's going to affect on the development phase and about the testing. So today is day 1, and we are focusing on the fundamentals of accessibility, which will be the base for this whole webinar series. And this session will include accessibility laws, standards, and relevance in tech. My name is Thilini Karunarathne. I have experience over 12 years in software quality assurance area. I have worked in the majorly financial domains and also gambling and gaming, survey, and queue management domains. Currently, I work as a quality assurance lead at Creative Software. Okay, then. Let's begin with why accessibility is not just important, why it's become so essential. Uh, Accessibility is a wide topic. It includes from pedestrian walking paths to every little thing, including digital platforms. Well, disabilities can be permanent, temporary, or situational, but accessibility should support all of them. And digital accessibility is a trending topic these days. This means any digital platform, it can be a website, mobile app, it can be any device or any document. Regardless of the platform, it should be accessible for all users. That means even for the people with disabilities should be able to access your digital platform. I'll take a scenario like this. If you are in a noisy place, let's assume you are commuting in a public transport and you forgot your earpiece, earphone, or headphone, and there is a video that you feel like you want to check right now. So what you're gonna do? Of course, you are going to switch on captions. So same that way, a person with hearing impairments will switch on captions to get the assist, to get to know what's going on that audio of the video. So hope you remember in during the pandemic time, most of the people started to use digital platform, especially financial systems like online banking and e-commerce site or to order daily rations. So in that time, even many elderly people and differently abled people started to order things using these digital platforms. And with that situation, uh, was occur that many major brands in the world started to focus on digital accessibility. Therefore, we should understand creating an inclusive design isn't just ethical, it's essential for user reach and business as well. Do you know over 1.3 billion people, that means 20% from the global population experience significant disabilities. This number get increased day by day due to global population gets older and chronic diseases such as diabetes, arthritis, or heart diseases becoming more common. More people are experiencing disabilities, whether it's temporarily or permanently. So to design inclusively, we must understand the type of accessibilities users face. Let's talk about different type of disabilities people may have and how they affect the way they use website, apps, or any digital platform. We will also see some short videos to get a better understanding about the experience. So there are 4 disability types: visual impairments, motor disability, auditory disability, and cognitive disability. So first one, we will go with visual impairment. That means some people see differently because of conditions like low vision, blindness, color blindness, or trouble processing what they see. Um, I know that in the society we are more aware about blindness, low vision disorders, but if we talk about visual impairments like color blindness, we are not much aware about them. There are more colorblind disorder categories, but green and red blindness is the most common one. And not only that, another disorder is tunnel vision. Well, users with these disability orders rely on narrow field of focus, and also light sensitivity disorder. This means bright or high contrast visuals maybe cause discomfort for the user. Not only that, there are several disorders under visual disabilities. Let's watch a short video that shows how the world looks from their point of view. Actually, I create a small collection from this with few clips, including three diseases: color blindness, glaucoma, and macular degeneration.
Glaucoma causes vision loss by damaging the optic nerve in the back of your eye. In many cases, one of the first signs of glaucoma is
sort of a blurred mishmash of colors that is indistinguishable. And then around.
Okay, now that we have seen how vision can affect digital access, let's move on to another important area: how people physically interact with devices. Next one is motor disability. These challenges with movement, like shaking hands, limited control, or difficulty using a mouse or a keyboard, uh, conditions like Parkinson disease or arthritis can make even a small action very hard. So, motor disability can be permanent, temporary, or situational. For example, permanent motor disabilities such as spinal cord injuries and Parkinson disease, and temporary disabilities, which are very common. Even sometimes we face them due to day-to-day accidents, such as broken arms or recovering from a surgery. So here is a video that someone share how they deal with this in their daily life when using e-commerce site. Let's look into that.
I feel really stuck because every time I want to read something or buy something online, it's a complex, frustrating nightmare. I can't see where I am, icons and buttons aren't clickable, and by the time I finally get to the article or shopping cart I was looking for, I'm mentally exhausted.
Okay. Well, while some people face physical challenges, others may have difficulty uh, in hearing what's going on there. So especially when content lies on sound. Okay, let's move to our next disability, uh, auditor disability. Before talking about that disability, let's watch a video from Apple that shows how technology can help people with hearing loss.
We got it last week. I think I know what it is. Are you serious? Guys, thank you. No, this is
I got the moon.
John, listen.
Light the fire. You place the flowers in the vase that you bought today.
He's so excited. Here you go.
Haley. Happy birthday. Look at the picture of me and you, Daddy. Look at the moon.
Okay, so some people have trouble hearing. So uh, they may be deaf and maybe partially hear the things. So this can make it harder to understand audio or fellow conversation. So you might see in that video, so a person, some people have trouble hearing, or they may be deaf. So it's a little bit hard for them to understand what's going on the audio or to follow the conversation. And so the people who saw the video, so I would say the person was trying to understand what, trying to hear what his daughter was explaining during all his lifetime until he is getting the correct assistive technology. Okay, now we know that hearing and movement are important, but what about our brains process information, how it works? So that brings us to our next type of disability, cognitive disability. Uh, Cognitive disabilities affect how someone thinks, learn, or focus. This includes conditions such as dyslexia, autism, ADHD, memory impairments, or learning disabilities. Here is another video. I hope this might work with you, but if not, bear with us. We are sharing the whole webinar series in YouTube as well. So this also from Apple, which show how they design their tech to support users with these kind of needs.
My name is Dylan, and I am autistic. All my life I wanted so badly to connect with people. But they couldn't understand, because I had no way to communicate. I get to experience the world in a very unique way. I can see the wind, hear the flowers. I can feel incredible emotions flowing from those I love.
Twin apart, a twin apart. This man, no.
Many.
So many, so many, so many.
So many people can't understand that I have a mind. All they see is a person who is not in control. But now you can hear me. The iPad helps me to see not only my words but to hold on to my thoughts. Having a voice has changed everything in my life. No more isolation. I can finally speak with the people that love me. I can say what I think and let them know I love them too.
Hi, Dylan.
Hello, my name is Dylan Bartwash. We are the reality of our thinking life, and are capable of so much if we just open our minds.
Well, so far we have seen how different people experience the digital world. Now you might be wondering, how do we make sure our website or apps works for everyone? That's where Web Content Accessibility Guidelines comes to the picture. Simply, we call WCAG. These are simple, clear rules that help us design for all users, no matter their abilities. When we follow them, we create more inclusive and user-friendly digital experience. With the first version recommendation in 1999, W3C, you might know as Worldwide Web Consortium, created some international guidelines to help web accessibility. That's what we talk as WCAG today. It is a collaborative effort of various stakeholders, such as disability advocacy groups, government agencies, and accessibility research organizations. So in 2008, W3C released WCAG 2.0, and in 2012, it became an ISO standard. Then after 10 years, in 2018, they released WCAG 2.1, which added more support for mobile users and people with low vision and cognitive abilities, disabilities, sorry. Uh, and the latest version, which was released in 2023, WCAG 2.2. So this one includes new guidelines to help even more users and modern devices. And WCAG has three levels of success, kind of like goals. First one is level A. That's the basic one, where website must at least meet this level to be considered as minimally accessible. So the next level, level double A, the most common standard. Actually, this is what most websites aim for. That includes important fixes that help many users. And then the last one, level AAA, the highest level. Um, it's great to reach this level, but it's not always possible for every website or app. And another key piece of WCAG 2.0 was introducing four fundamental principles. Actually, these principles are great because it's not just a long checklist of things. It's a concept of making things digitally accessible for people with disabilities. Let's dig into the WCAG's four foundational principles. We call them as PO, which stand for uh, perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. Perceivable. In simple term, easy to see. This means users must be able to notice and understand the content. Nothing should be hidden from their eyes, ears, or other senses. Here, how we make it happen. First one, we can go with alternate text alternatives. If there is an image, icon, or button, add a short description, alter text. So people using screen readers know what it's there. For an example, if a form box turn red for an error, someone with colorblind might not see that. So better to add a clear message like this field is required. Not only that, um, time-based media. This means we can add captions, as I mentioned to you earlier. So to, we are adding captions to the videos, so people who can't hear can still understand. Also, um, you can provide transcript for audio-only content, such as meeting recordings like this um, from Teams or Google Meets. You might have already seen that if you're joining for a meeting, you can on transcript. And it will help them to understand the audio, even they have hearing disorders. And the next guideline, adaptable layout. This means use clean and meaningful code like proper HTML tags. So content can be shown in different ways, like through a screen reader for blind users. And the last one, distinguishable content. It means make sure text stand out from the background. I mean, you can avoid light gray text on white or anything hard to read. Use strong color contrast. According to level AA, between text and background, it's essential to have a contrast ratio of at least 4.5 to 1. So if someone can't see, hear, or read in a visual way, we still want them to be able to get the information. Okay, now that user can see and sense the content, how do we make sure they can actually use it? Let's move to the next principle, operable, making sure people can interact with the interface. This means people should be able to use the website or app no matter their physical abilities. Not everyone can use a mouse. So everything should work with just a keyboard. Um, Here's how we make sure that with keyboard accessibility, people should be able to move through the site using just tab and enter keys and arrow keys maybe, but not just a mouse. So there, there should be more accessible any form with keyboard. So next one is enough time. That means don't trust the user. Avoid auto logouts or time limits unless there is a way to extend it. Each person reads and acts at different speeds, so keep that in mind. Uh, and here comes the third point. That means avoid triggers for seizures. Well, the rule in here, no flashing content more than 3 times per second. This might seem like a small issue, but for someone with photosensitive epilepsy, just one flashing banner can lead to a medical emergency. So if you use animations, make them calm and always add a pause button there. And the last point, navigable structure. That means use clear headings, page titles, and skip links. So users know where they are and can move around easily. This is especially helpful for the screen reader users. So operable means making sure users can move, click, and interact with the content in a way that works for them. Okay, now being able to use website is great, but what if the user doesn't understand what's they are seeing? Let's move on to the next principle, understandable, making content clear and easy to follow. Okay, understandable. That means the content and interface should be clear, predictable, and easy to use. Nothing should confuse or surprise the user. So the guidelines for understandable principle, the first one is readable text. That means use plain, simple language and avoid complex words or technical terms. And the second one, predictable behavior. That means keep buttons, menus, and links working the same way across all the pages. For an example, a date field that should always use the same format. Like if you put like date, month, year, that means in the next page, it shouldn't not be year, month, date. It should be same as the previous page and should not confuse the user. And keep that in mind when you are design in next time. And the last one under the understandable, input help. That means forms should guide users if there is an error. Um, Clearly say what went wrong and how to fix it. So understand that it's very important to provide a input assistant as much as you can uh, do in the design space. Okay, now even if users understand and use your app today, what about the future? Let's talk about the final principle, robust, making sure it works for everyone now and later. This principle means your website or app should be strong and flexible. So it works with both today's technologies and tomorrow's. And same as the other principles, there are key guidelines for this principle as well. The first one is use clean HTML. That means write well-structured semantic code so tools can easily read. And the second one is assistive tech support, means it must be support assistive tools like screen readers, braille displays, voice commands, or speech input tools. And the next one, modern standards. Um, Also, I can say avoid broken code. That means make sure your code is complete because missing tags can confuse assistive technologies. And the last one, test on different devices and browsers. Your content should work smoothly on phones, tablets, desktop, and all across browsers. Okay, so we will discuss more about how we are doing to use these 4 principles and integrate them to development phase during our second day session of this webinar. So we are asking you to join on next Thursday for that as well. But we are still not going to end our one. The answer is robust because we are doing things for today's perspective, but not for tomorrow's. So we might forget that browsers are getting update and the technologies are changing. We are not changing our code accordingly. So yes, the answer is robust. Okay, now you all now you know all 4 principles which are foundation of VCAG. However, VCAG is not a law, but many assistive accessibility laws around the world refer it as a basic guideline. So we will dive more into the legal side, but before that, let's watch a short video where people with disabilities share their real experience and understand why making accessibility a priority truly matters.
Today we're facing a huge challenge because we really didn't design this world to serve for everyone.
One of our greatest barriers to making progress when it comes to being more inclusive is that we have a tendency to design and engineer things for ourselves.
90% of companies prioritise diversity, 4% consider disability.
This is a 1.3 billion population we're talking about. It's a market that is not being tapped into.
With the fourth industrial revolution, our aim should be to attain inclusive growth, which really benefits everyone.
These individuals and voices need to be intrinsic to the development of projects, legislation, from the very moment of the conception of the idea. Otherwise, we're still creating within the framework and lenses and biases that exist within the society.
If just under 20% of our global market has a disability, how can you serve that market if you don't understand it internally in your business?
As technology changes, we will need to think about how it can in fact augment human capability of different abilities, give them the skills so that they can fully participate in our economies.
Y así como existen múltiples diversidades en el universo, también existen diversidades en capacidades, generan potencialidades que pueden ser aprovechadas en beneficio no solo de las personas con discapacidad, sino de toda la sociedad.
Some of the car manufacturers have started introducing these exoskeletons into their production line. On the one hand, you could think of these as helping protect people who have normal physical abilities, or you could imagine that these same exoskeletons could help people who before would not have been able to do the job, but now they can.
The best is to think about these as not assistive technologies, but really come at the product and service with universal design principles.
Hello. 你好。
How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
你们是在家还是在学校?
You are at home or at school.
We are all at school right now.
There's not one product or service that fits everyone, but there is one mindset that everybody benefits from, is the full human experience.
Making sure that we think inclusively whenever we build something, because somebody who doesn't have any disability today is not guaranteed that he won't have a disability tomorrow.
Maybe we can move to the point of thinking beyond this idea of differently abled meaning less than something, but that we're all differently abled.
The greatest force for change is going to be the importance of individuals being willing to step forward and be vulnerable, sharing their unique lived experience, which is going to shape business frameworks and political legislation with empathy rooted at every decision.
The next generation voice is the greatest chance that we have for change, for an inclusion revolution that means everyone, and no one is left behind.
So, well, no one should left behind. With that final note of the video, we will move to our next slides about legal side of the accessibility. In many countries, digital accessibility is a legal requirement, not just a nice to have thing. So today, we are mainly focusing on US based acts, but there are several in practice. In US, the two most reference regulations are ADA, that means Americans with Disability Act, and Section 508 of Rehabilitation Act. Actually, ADA was formed in 1990 and it's a US civil right law, and ADA lawsuits for web accessibility has increased significantly in recent years, and business of all sizes have been held accountable, especially e-commerce, hospitality, and educational sector. If your website isn't accessible, you could face legal actions, even if you don't have a physical location. The law applies regardless of whether you operate online store or a physical store. Um, well, the ADA was written before websites and apps existed. You might know the first website uh, launched into the world in 1991. However, ADA was written in before, and nowadays codes include digital platforms under this law. This is especially relevant for businesses and services that serves the public. Uh, Title 2, which applies to state and local governments, where Title 3 covers private businesses that serves the public. It includes e-commerce sites, schools, hotels, banks, etc. And even though ADA doesn't clearly define what makes a website accessible, courts use WCAG as the golden standard. That's why most companies aim to meet WCAG level AA as the benchmark. That's the practical target for staying compliant with the ADA. Here comes Section 508, which is a federal law that requires all US government agencies to make their digital content accessible to people with disabilities. Well, who must follow it? Of course, government agencies, vendors, contractors, and developers who work with the government, because it's one of the strongest accessibility laws because it's linked to government procurements. What does this Section 508 says? But that needs to be accessible. It says that websites, internal softwares, documents like PDFs, hardwares like ATMs or kiosks should follow the guidelines. If not followed, it can lead to loss of contracts or legal actions. Not only in US, in many countries, VCAG compliance is no longer optional. And in Europe, European Accessibility Act was imposed to cater this problem, and with new VCAG 2.2, they are strictly following them in their digital platforms. Not only that, but also countries like UK, Australia, Canada, German, and India made their Digital Accessibility Act and guidelines cater to specially focusing on publicly used digital platforms. So at this point, you can understand if your site isn't accessible, it's not just a bad UX. It also be against the law. So VCAG tells you how to build accessible content, And laws like ADA and Section 508 explain why it's important. Let's see what happens if you don't follow them. That's where comes the lawsuits. These aren't just edge cases. Major brands have been sued in following years. So, and recent years, we noticed that accessibility lawsuits have increased by over 300%, and companies from small shop to big names are being held accountable. Well, the average cost of a court settlement is around 25,000 USD. And not only that, they have to go with some penalties as well. So let's look at a few real examples to understand how serious this can get. In 2010, Netflix was challenged for not providing closed caption in their video content. Penalty was a settlement and implementation of captions all across their libraries. And in 2016, Domino's was sued because blind users couldn't order pizza via their website or mobile app using screen readers. These cases, when that case went to Supreme Court, but they declined to hear the case and leave it to the lower court, and then it settled on the side of user. And you can see Hulu. It's also experienced a similar situation in 2017 due to not providing audio descriptions for blind and visually impaired users. As the result, they had to update their content to include audio descriptions. Well, in 2018, Fox News Channel, and in 2019, Parkwood Entertainment. Well, you might know it as Beyonce's company, and in 2023, Monopoly owner Hasbro also experienced similar issues uh, due to their website lacked alternative text and had redundant links or making navigable navigation with keyboard or screen readers was difficult. So uh, even high-profile brands must ensure their sites are keyboard accessible and screen reader compatible. What do all these lawsuits have in common? They all share one key lesson, uh, which is these issues were preventable. The lawsuits happened because basic accessibility features were missing in there, like captions, screen readers, and support, screen reader support or uh, clear navigation. But here's the thing: these aren't complicated problems, and because they can be fixed or avoid entirely by testing for accessibility. That's why proactive accessibility testing is the key for all of them. Most accessibility issues are things like missing all the text for images, uh, inaccessible forms which don't tell users that what went wrong, and poor color contrast, or maybe um, it's menus and buttons that can't be used with a keyboard or screen reader. These are small fixes during the design and development, but they make a big difference to real people. Yep, I can see a question. I'll come to that in my next slide because we are talking about that. And before that, let's make this a little bit personal for a moment. Think about the last time you used a website or app that was hard to use. Maybe the button wasn't labeled, the form didn't tell you what went wrong, the layout was confusing. You probably felt frustrated, right? Now imagine if that frustration wasn't just annoying, but actually meant you couldn't use the service at all. Well, that uh, what it exactly feel for someone with a disability when digital product isn't accessible. It's not just poor UX, it's exclusion. So if we design and test with inclusion in mind from the start, we could avoid these legal risk. We build better experience and make sure everyone can participate. Because accessibility isn't just a checkbox, it's about dignity, independence, and equal access for all. Here come to the next one. It's about accessibility in action. And now we have seen that risk of ignoring accessibility, and let's look at how we can make accessibility real with tools, techniques, and assistive technologies in action. Uh, well, as I mentioned earlier, accessibility isn't just a theory. It's about real people using real tools. So assistive technologies help people with uh, those disabilities to access digital content. Many users in the world rely on screen readers, keyboard navigation, and alternative input methods. So therefore, we need to make sure our applications support these technologies smoothly. Uh, to answer the question with my content, one of the most common tool is keyboard-only navigation. We consider this as a baseline test because users who cannot use mouse due to motor disabilities or preferences should able to navigate website using only the keyboard. As I mentioned to you earlier, it can be even temporary with the disability. Even you might experience today or tomorrow with a broken arm. So you might not able to use your mouse. So obviously you might need a keyboard to navigate through the forms. So that's why keyboard accessibility is so important. So I will give a small task. You can do this after this session. So you can try tabbing through your website and can use access every link and form field. Uh, so just give it a try. Check whether your website is keyboard navigable. And here come to the screen readers. It is one of the another critical accessibility factor which converts on-screen content into speech or braille. Actually, users who are blind or have low vision rely entirely on screen readers. Many issues like unlabeled buttons or confusing layouts can be caught early just by experiencing your website as your users do. That's why manual testing with screen readers and keyboard-only navigation is so valuable. There are many free tools like evaluating accessibility, their tool, Wave, Google Lighthouse, and W3C evaluation tool. There's a tool list in actually the W3C. However, we will deeply look into these tools in our day 3 session, which is totally focusing on accessibility testing. So you will get to know all of these things in there. Okay, that's wrap up the fundamentals for today. Let's open the floor for question, and I can see another question as well, which Ushan mentioned. Is there any legal act relevant to accessibility for disabled users in Sri Lanka? Well, we have a Disability Act, but it's not talking about digital accessibility. However, ICTA has been mentioned like it's better to at least follow VCAG level double A level because it's having the best practices. So unfortunately, we don't have a legal act under digital accessibility, but of course, there is a act for disability, but it doesn't include anything regarding digital accessibility. Thank you all so much for being here today and actively participating. Well, accessibility is not just about standards, it's about building empathy into our digital experience as well. Today was just the beginning actually. In our next session, we will dive deeper into how you are going to adopt accessibility to application. We will be covering topics related to the development perspective, which will be conducted by Udara Bandara. So that will be our day 2 session. So I hope you will join us again for day 2 of the webinar series. So guys, we will talk more and focus more into development perspective on day 2 webinar, and we will turn awareness into action. So feel free to reach out us in LinkedIn if you have questions or need support. Just pin us. So until then, test smart and build responsibly. Thank you.